It is looking like the beginning of World War III. From multiple military conflicts in West Asia to the one in Europe between Russia and Ukraine, the world is witnessing an era of a great power conflict. West Asia is sitting on a powder keg, and it looks like it might finally be ready to explode into what everyone fears, a wider war. Just take a look at today's headlines. In fact, late on Monday, Iran launched a number of missile strikes in northern Iraq. Its Revolutionary Guards, the IRGC, said they attacked Israel's spy headquarters in Iraq. The location was Erbil in Iraq's semi-autonomous Kurdistan region. The Iranian missiles hit an area near the U.S. consulate. A statement from the IRGC said, and I'm quoting, in response to the recent atrocities of the Zionist regime causing the killing of commanders of the guards and the axis of resistance, one of the main Mossad espionage headquarters in Iraq's Kurdistan region was destroyed with ballistic missiles. The elite Iranian forces also fired missiles at Syria. Their target? The Islamic State. And why is Iran targeting them? For vengeance. Remember, early this month, Iran's Kerman city was rocked by twin blasts. They exploded during a memorial for Qasem Soleimani, the Quds Force commander whom the US assassinated in the year 2020. Before we go any further, let me just give you a quick background. You see, Soleimani had enjoyed cult status in Iran when he was alive. In fact, he was a symbol of the regime's resilience. Then the Islamic State claimed hand in the attack. For the Islamic State, Iran's Soleimani was a sworn enemy. He had mobilized Shia militias, in fact, to fight the IS in Syria as well as Iraq. These groups played a big role in the urban battles that took place in Iraq. It saw the destruction of the physical structures of the IS caliphate. Let's just get back to Monday's attacks by Iran. The Iranian forces said that the strikes on Monday were in retaliation for the bombings in Iran. Meanwhile, the attack on the Mossad base in Iraq was in response to the killing of commanders of IRGC as well as the resistance front. Remember, Iran supports the Hamas and is growing increasingly hostile towards Israel. This has sparked concern that retaliatory attacks between Israel and Iran could intensify. The US has responded. Washington rebuked Iran for its overnight attacks, calling them reckless and imprecise. While no US personnel or facility was targeted, the US said it continues to assess the situation in Iraq. The Iraqi Kurdistan administration has said that at least 4 civilians were killed, 6 others were injured in Erbil. Its prime minister described it as a crime against the Kurdish people. This is the latest escalation of hostilities that further risks spiraling into a wider regional conflict. The situation in West Asia has worsened since the war broke out between Israel and Hamas on the 7th of October last year. Since then, Iran's allies have also entered the fray from Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, Yemen. I'm talking about Iran's axis of resistance. It's basically a network of pro-Iran militant Islamist groups. They help Iran project power and also risk causing a wider inferno in West Asia. Case in point, the Houthis of Yemen. After disrupting maritime trade for the past 2 months in the Red Sea, they have now decided to expand attacks to include US ships. This after the US and the UK launched heavy airstrikes targeting the Houthi rebels last week. Houthis have been at war with Saudi Arabia-led coalition in charge of Yemen for years now. But soon after the Israel-Hamas war broke out, the Houthis shifted their focus towards the Red Sea, in order to show support for Hamas. In fact, their leader said that his forces were ready to move in hundreds of thousands to join the Palestinian people. Such declarations of support are popular locally, but their attacks on commercial ships passing the Red Sea have led to ruptured supply chains and rising oil prices. It has also led to higher shipping costs, as companies are now rerouting their ships from the zone of conflict. In the beginning, the Houthis were launching attacks on vessels in the Red Sea and towards Israel. Most of the Houthi drones and missiles were being intercepted by the United States, but the attacks on shipping escalated to a point where Washington felt that it had to retaliate. And let's not forget the Iraqi and Syrian militias who have targeted U.S. base. They were established in the chaos following the U.S. invasion of Iraq in the year 2003 and then during the Syrian civil war. They have several goals apart from projecting the Iranian influence. Their aim essentially is to bolster allies and resist the Western plans for the region. And separately, Turkey also destroyed 23 targets in overnight airstrikes on Kurdish militants in northern Iraq and Syria. You see, this was a further escalation of the conflict south of its border. On Friday, 9 Turkish soldiers were killed in clashes with Kurdistan Workers' Party militants in northern Iraq. The PKK, designated a terrorist group by Turkey, the US and the EU, took up arms against the Turkish state in the year 1984. The conflict with the PKK was long fought more in the rural areas of southeastern Turkey. And now it is more focused on the mountains of Kurdistan region. PKK militants are based here. And as you can see, the Israel-Hamas war is no longer about just Israel and Hamas. It has put the entire region in a ring of fire and the chaos has spread. Hamas's allies found an opportunity to strike the old enemies. It should serve as a warning to the stakeholders. De-escalation of the current regional crisis is the way forward. WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the updates on the move.